Oh, is it started already? It's already started. Dang. This I got a new phone, so it's been being kind of a pain having to get StreamYard started. So today I've got to unbox the Indiana Jones Adventure Series, Indiana Jones from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it contains part of an artifact. And you can see that the artifact is indeed the Ark of the Covenant. So here's the back, and we got a picture of Indiana Jones and the figure and all the accessories. Got a little bit of cross-sell artwork on this side with Indy, Sala, Marion, Tote, and Belloc. So, and then on this side, got some artwork, which I believe this is original artwork. It looks like it's done with Photoshop, but it does, I think, kind of capture that Drew Struzan sort of feel to it. So it looks pretty cool. Got Indy and the fertility idol, and Indy leaping from his horse onto the German army's truck. You know, the guys who worked for Bad Mustache Man in World War II. So yeah, let's go ahead and open it up. I'm pretty excited about this figure, although I have had it for a while. I pre-ordered this on Amazon months ago, and I did my trick where like I pay it off using various gift cards, and so it got sent to me, and then I put it in my pile of action figures that I hadn't opened yet. So I'm going to try to get caught up on some of these here lately, because probably going to be kind of broke for the next couple of weeks or months, because I had to put a new transmission on my truck, and I'm trying my best to pay it off. But thankfully, that does not mean that I'm going to have to stop doing episodes, since I've got all this stuff that's, I've been talking about it, stuff that I need to open up. So this does have a little bit of printing on the insert here, the build an artifact, and it's got the instructions for how to put together the Ark of the Covenant. I will be buying the rest of the figures in this set because I want to put together the Ark, obviously. And I love Raiders of the Lost Ark, one of my favorite movies. The other Indy movies, some of them are really good and some of them are not so good. But personally, I feel like those first three are gold. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is not so great, and I don't have much faith that Lucasfilm is gonna, not Disney Lucasfilm, at least, is gonna give me another good one. If Steven Spielberg, dang it, sorry, I kicked the table. If Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, with their combined talents, could not bring me a satisfying fourth Indiana Jones movie, I have no faith at all that Kathleen Kennedy, the genius behind the sequel trilogy, I have no doubt in my mind that she's going to disappoint me with like a fifth Indiana Jones movie, and my expectations are super low. So yeah, there's Indy himself. Pretty decent likeness of Harrison Ford. I kind of feel like the pupils are a little too small. If that makes any sense. Let me see if I can get that to focus a little better. So, but the sculpt is good. I think it's the paint details where it's kind of lacking, and I think it's more sort of in the pupils. I think that's the problem. The detailing on the stubble is really good. A lot of really good detailing on this figure. Like they've got some weathering in the jacket. Like you can see that like there's parts where like kind of the stain is worn off of the jacket from all this crawling around and everything. And it's the typical earth tone colors we think of Indy being dressed in. He's got the brown leather jacket, the khaki shirt, the tan pants. He's got a satchel slung over his shoulder, which goes underneath the jacket. So, and then he's got a gun belt, and hopefully there's a place to hang a whip on here somewhere. I think maybe this little doodad here. Yeah, that's a little strap that that'll fold up, and that'll hold his whip onto his belt when we plug that in. I got some kind of itch there. Almost feels like there's some kind of bug crawling around under my shirt. That would not be fun. So, all right, so let's set Indy aside for a minute. Oh, by the way, I should note this hat is not removable. Some Indiana Jones figures have removable hats, but not this one. And frankly, I don't mind because I kind of feel like a lot of the times when they make the hat removable, it winds up being a little too big and chonky, and I'd rather it be a little more realistically proportioned. So I am 100% cool with that. So let's see what all accessories Indy comes with. And first, I'm going to go ahead and pull out these art pieces. And what we have are the little eagle statues that go on the top. It, you know, I had more of a main piece to start putting stuff onto, but c'est la vie. So here we go with the fertility idol. That this the thing he's hunting after in the first part of the movie, and then if you only have one accessory for an Indiana Jones figure, you want it to be the whip. So there's his whip, and it's pretty simple, just a piece of kind of orangish brown, soft plastic, kind of rubbery. Hopefully, we can get some good poses out of that. I know that Gridiron Studios, they made a set of alternate accessories that you can give to Indy, and I'm seriously considering picking that up because apparently the whip that comes with that actually has like a little wire in it and it's bendy, so that's cool. And he actually comes with two whips because he has the second one to curl up and hang on his belt. So we can see that the hands that Indy has on the actual figure, we got a trigger hand to hold the gun, and I'm sure that'll hold his whip just as well, and then kind of an open gesturing hand, so the hands that come separate is we have two closed fists, one for the right hand and one for the left hand. And then we have an additional gripping hand that doesn't have a trigger finger on it. So, but I think that this trigger finger hand should hold the whip just as well as this one. So, and then another open gesturing hand, which to me looks almost identical, but it does have kind of like a loose grip with the thumb bent slowly inwards. But they're so close, like I don't know why they would bother. They would bother making another hand for that, because you might. I'm actually gonna swap them out right now because I do think this hand is a little better because it's got the opposable thumb, so he should be able to grip stuff with this. Let me see. I'll put the whip in his hand. And I imagine it's going to be kind of a loose grip, but yeah, he can still hold the whip in that hand. So if you wanted to have him hold the gun in one hand and the whip in the other, you can use that hand. But at the same time, it's still like a loose enough of a hand. You can still use it for that kind of gesture like I'm talking about. So if we were to put the whip into the right hand, which is a tighter grip, see, that still looks pretty natural. Except for he's kind of whipping himself in the head. Yeah, I'm probably going to get that Gridiron Studio set. Because if nothing else, it'll give a little more posability to this whip. So this isn't a bad whip overall, except for it just kind of tends to curl up on itself, probably because that was packaged in there. I'd rather it be kind of naturally in that kind of position, but it does seem to kind of loop back around and then rest on the top of his head or slap him in the ear or something like that. So I might try to experiment a little bit with a hand with the hair dryer and see if I can get it into like a little bit more of a looser position. But that's something to come in the future. And he's got like a teeny tiny little revolver. It does seem really small, but let's see how it looks in his hand. It's probably one of those things where I would imagine this probably is like a realistically scaled revolver for his hand, but it just seems a little small to me just because I'm used to action figure weaponry being a little bigger than this. Let her go. So and then we've got the coiled whip, so we can put that on his belt. Let's see how that works out. And it's a tiny little peg and a tiny little hole, so let's see if I can get it on there. So Now, I do want to say that I don't think these accessories are too bad. I think that some of them probably could have been better in a lot of ways, but I do think it's probably going to be worth me picking up that Gridiron Studios set sometime in the future to enhance this figure as it is. Like, I think he's a good figure so far from what I'm looking at him, but I think his accessories probably could have been a little better, and it's probably going to be worth it me investing a little bit of extra money and having that Gridiron Studios set. So it's one of those things where it's like this belt is really rubbery, and I'm gonna try to turn this down a little bit so we can see the figure while I'm fooling around with it. And since it is a little rubbery, then like I'm not having the easiest time getting that peg in that hole. And it's kind of a short strap, so it doesn't quite have enough slack for me to really get it on there. So I don't know if that's gonna work. So maybe I can get it to work later, but I'm not gonna fool with it anymore right now because I've already got other stuff to talk about with this figure. So let's take the revolver out of his hand and we'll put it in the holster here. And it is kind of a small holster, but it's kind of a small gun. So hopefully it'll fit in there just fine. And then this flap is supposed to come over it. And again, since this is made out of the same material, I'm wondering how much success I will have getting that strap in there. And I'm not having much luck. It's just with it being such a pliable plastic, like if you go to try to press it through the hole, sometimes if the hole's so tight, it just kind of like folds up against it instead of going in. So yeah, so there's what that looks like right there. So Indiana Jones is kind of like one of those classic action adventure characters that, you know, people my age would have grown up with. It's like Indiana Jones would have been kind of one of the most, if not the most iconic action hero of the 1980s. And I think the first movie came out in what, 81, and the last one came out in 89. Of the first three, I'm not counting Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because I didn't grow up with it. I'm talking about the ones I grew up with. I'm not even trying to badmouth Crystal Skull right now. Although we could badmouth it, couldn't we? And like I said, I don't expect that new one to be much better. If Steven Spielberg, who's probably the greatest living movie director, if he couldn't do a good fourth Indiana Jones movie, like nothing against James Mangold, who's a fine director in his own right, but Spielberg wasn't getting bossed around by Kathleen Kennedy either. I don't have much faith in anything she does with Lucasfilm. So, oh well. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this figure. He's a nice figure. Like I said, the accessories could be a little better. I am definitely going to pick up that Gridiron Studios set because I think that will take this figure to the next level. And I'm certainly planning on buying the rest of these because I love this movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I love all those characters. So, and if they do any more Raiders figures, I might buy those too. I did see when I was at Target earlier, I saw the Club Obi-Wan figure, and that's one I would like to have. But like I said, unfortunately, I'm just in a place right now where I'm like I'm trying to just hold on to whatever money I can until I get this truck situation taken care of because it's just been not fun. So I want to go ahead and getting the mechanic his money and get my truck back and hopefully get somewhat back to a normal life after that. So, but that's pretty much it for this episode. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you've been thinking about buying this figure, I hope that this influenced your decision one way or another, whether or not you want to pick it up. Despite my reservations about the accessories and how I think the accessories could have been better, this is still a fine figure and it's worth picking up. Even as is, like I said, like the main accessory you want to have is the whip. and you can probably get him in some good poses with this whip, especially like I said, I'm going to try to hit it with a hairdryer and see if I can get anything good out of it. But if you pick up that Gridiron Studios set, I think that'll make this figure just that much better. And I'm probably going to try to repaint his eyeballs because, like I said, I feel like his pupils are a little small. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Let me know what you think about Indiana Jones, both the action figure and the character. What's your favorite Indiana Jones movie? And what's your second favorite Indiana Jones movie? These are very important questions. Now, I figure most people that respond to that will probably say their favorite is Raiders and their second favorite is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, because that's the one that generally seems to be most people's favorite or second favorite. I do feel like Temple of Doom is unfairly maligned, but it seems like it's starting to get a little more of a reappraisal, and people are starting to come around on it. They're starting to come around on it, and maybe Crystal Skull had something to do with that because they saw what a really bad Indiana Jones movie would be like, and they're like, "Oh, never mind." Like kind of like what happened with the prequels of Star Wars and the sequel trilogy, where people saw the sequel trilogy and were like, maybe those prequels weren't so bad in hindsight. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.